Rube, has Sunday kind of settled into your brain of what actually happened?
No, I'm still processing it. It was an all-timer.
That was an all-timer. We had some all-time emails that came in before that game was over that I can't wait to read later in this podcast. I went back and watched the game, and yeah, it was like exactly what you thought it was. It just looked like two different teams from half one to half two.
Really, it looked like four different teams because there were two different Rams teams as well. So yeah, they certainly, that's a tough way to lose. But yeah, it was. I mean, the similarities between, I actually jotted down like 9 different similarities between the 2010 game at the Meadowlands. That's the only thing I can compare it to, and that 89 game at RFK Stadium, that 42-37 game.
Yeah, it was funny. I couldn't even think about it compared to any other game in the aftermath of it. But yeah, the more you think about it, that game in the Meadowlands was eerily similar to this one.
It really was, down to a last-second walk-off special teams touchdown. Obviously, Deshaun's punt return. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was fun. I think football is such a great sport because, games literally are never over, and you see these comebacks, and you see them every week in the league. Maybe not to this extent, but I think if you, and I think this is where Nick is really strong. If you believe in yourself and you keep playing hard, I think the Rams played like they had the game won. I think they mentally thought it was over, and against a good team, you can't do that. And the Eagles played lousy, but they kept playing hard and they kept fighting. And once you get that first touchdown, and you start getting confident, and the momentum starts changing. You finally get some better field position. They actually didn't get that for the most part, but you start making some plays. Then you start getting some stops, and now you're really you're thinking, now the crowd's into it. The swings that you see in football, I think, are unlike any other sport. I guess you have them in every sport, but I think it's just such an emotional game. But if you believe in yourself and believe you can come back, you can. Yeah. And oftentimes you do.
And some things have to go in your favor too. And I think the way the Rams played that game, it was funny. One of the things that Jalen Hurts said to Pam Oliver after the game was that, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but early on we played not to lose, and I felt like that's kind of what the Rams did. All those field goals, as much credit as Sean McVay deserves for being a great offensive mind, man, he screws up a lot of game situation stuff, and his aggressiveness does not match who he is as a play designer, as an offensive mind. He's just super conservative, and if he wasn't, I think they'd probably win that game.
I agree. You've got to you got to know how to finish and have that killer instinct. There's nothing wrong with chucking the ball down the field when you're up 19 points. And, I think of the Devontae play in the Super Bowl, just keep pouring it on. And if you don't, you're just setting yourself up for failure. And I think when you take your foot off the gas, I think the team does that too. I think the team tends to, and then you kind of look at the scoreboard and you see 26-7. You're like, this game's over. We got this thing won. I just think mentally, you just don't have the same intensity. And if the other team does, then you get what happened Sunday.
Yeah, just from a mental side of things, you're the underdog on the road facing the reigning Super Bowl champions. You have a chance to step on their neck and take them out of it. And you send your field goal kicker out there again and again. Yeah. In some situations where at least you'd hope, if you're an Eagles fan, that Nick Sirianni would go for it. I think the best test is how do Eagles fans feel seeing the kicker come out? Pretty good, right? It's like a sigh of relief. You shouldn't be giving the home crowd a sigh of relief if you're Sean McVay.
Yeah, absolutely. First half field goals get you beat. That's been true in football forever. If you're putting up threes, it's like you start adding up the differences between 3 and 7 times 3 or 4. That's a lot of points. And they don't win this game, even if they just get one more touchdown out of those bunch of field goals they kicked early. Game's probably over.
They also don't win this game if the passing offense doesn't wake up. And we talked to Nick Sirianni on Monday. We talked to Kevin Patullo on Tuesday. Any big picture thoughts about what you heard from those two gentlemen about the passing offense and what changed half one to half two?
I think what changed is desperation, and they don't want to say that. They don't want to admit it. They're kind of like, I mean, Nick did allude to it, I guess. They didn't have a choice. And I think that forced their hand. They had to become the offense that, people wanted to see just out of necessity. And I specifically asked, Kevin Patullo today, Tuesday, do you feel like you need to run this kind of offense even when you don't fall behind by 19 points? And he didn't really answer it. I don't know what he said. It didn't make sense. What did you make of his answer? It's just kind of.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was the answer to that question or in general, but his major premise going into that game or coming out of it, I guess, was that no, their plan was to be aggressive, and then circumstance basically dictated that they couldn't get ahead of the sticks,
meaning field position,
not
being able to run the ball,
and I think he didn't come out and say the right tackle, but that was an issue. Just the way that the offense was running, it was kind of stuck in the mud. Now, I think it's fair to say there are things you can do to get yourself unstuck, so to speak. And I don't think they did enough of those. If you're an Eagles fan, you probably want to hear him take a little more accountability. Like, hey, yeah, there's things I could have done as the play caller to get us out of this. But I don't think it's any secret that once you get in the second half, you're down 19 points. All of a sudden, you have no choice. Like, you have to be more aggressive. You have to throw the football. On top of that, you're running tempo, which is something that is an unstuck method, right? It is something that can help you get going. You have a right tackle in there who's better, and you can run your offense more efficiently. I think all those factors played a role, but I still am not buying the idea that they came into this game with an aggressive mindset offensively. I don't think it was. Maybe they talked about it during the week, but what we saw on the field just wasn't very aggressive.
Right. Even the drives that didn't start back in the soup were not aggressive. Mm-hmm. I thought it was really.
And I understand, circumstance dictates a lot in football, and when you're constantly backed up, it makes it harder. But even when you're backed up, you have AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. You can still throw the football effectively.
Yeah, and Kevin said, if they're dropping 8 because it's 3rd and 17 on your own 5, you don't want to throw into that. It was striking.
Yeah, I asked him about the coward straws, and I didn't call them that because I figured that wouldn't elicit a great response. Form, but it's something that we've seen now, not just in this game, but they're happy to run a draw. And at least he didn't say, well, Saquon can break those now, because he can, but you're not calling it because Saquon can break it. You're calling it because you don't want to turn the ball over.
Yeah, and I do think there are times where it's warranted to do that, to just run the ball, just run a draw play down 3rd and 17 from your own 3 or whatever. You certainly don't want Jalen getting sacked in the end zone or something like that. But
there's something to the idea of, when you throw it up to AJ Brown, good things happen. And it doesn't have to be a catch. It can be, the DB hits him a little early. All of a sudden you got a 25-yard DPI. You're cooking.
Cooking with grease. Is that what you're going to say? Just cooking.
Cooking works.
I was really struck, and I agree. I do think there are times you have a great punter. So I do think there are times where it does make sense to play at low risk, but not as frequently as they. So
what you're saying is the Eagles should get a worse punter, and then maybe they would feel the need to be more aggressive offensively?
I don't think I said that, but I'm just saying at times
having a good punter is a detriment to the offense.
At times, I think playing it conservatively does make sense, but not all the time.
So. Yeah, especially they have a good defense. And sometimes that defense is playing at such a high level. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was one of those games.
No.
They were giving up big chunks. Now they were good in the red zone and they were stopping them, but it wasn't like they were getting a bunch of 3 and outs defensively.
Also, there's a difference between 3rd and 12 and 3rd and 19. So sure. Being backed up, being behind the sticks is different degrees. But I was really struck and just kind of riffing on what you just said. Vic Fangio comes out and is asked about the first half where the defense did not play well. And he's like, I could have made better calls. Kevin Patullo didn't say anything like that. And you'd like to hear some accountability from him. It's kind of kind of weird. He's just kind of blaming the situation, and we wanted to do this, just we couldn't. There's even Nick yesterday on Monday. He's like, I got to coach better. He's not calling the plays, but he took one for the team. He said, I everything you see out there, if we don't have the attention to detail and the physicality and the aggressiveness, that's on me. I think players want to see accountability. If they're demanding it from their players, the players want to see it from their coaches.
Yeah, and we don't know what's happening in their offensive meetings.
No.
Sometimes what a coach says publicly is very different than what they say in a team meeting and an offensive meeting. So you have to remember that. But I don't know. I thought the play calling was an issue in the first half,
No
and
question.
I understand the circumstance changes things. But yeah, it wasn't great in the first half. It was obviously much better in the second half, which led to a bunch of theories that Kevin Patullo was not calling plays in the second half. Nick Sirianni said he was the guy calling plays, meaning Kevin Patullo was the guy calling plays. He's going to continue to call plays. Now, if you already subscribe to the theory that he wasn't calling plays, I'm not sure you believe Nick Sirianni. Like, that's the issue with Nick being caught in lies before, is that you can either take him at his word or you can't. But I do believe that Patullo was calling the plays. Now, where it gets a little different is like when they're in tempo, Jalen's at the line and he can audible out of stuff too. So there's some wiggle room within whoever is calling plays.
Yeah, and I'm guessing there was a significant amount of that happening Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can get Jalen into a rhythm better than Jalen. Maybe Shane Steichen. And it was so different. It was so dramatically different that you just felt like something changed. And now I'm in the studio, so I'm watching the TV copy, so I can't really see, the I guess the operation of Kevin and the play call sheet and what he's saying and who he's saying it to. But it wouldn't shock me if we found out at some point that Jalen had a bigger role in it. And
that's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah. Like in fact, we've talked about Jalen for years now. And it's like the offense kind of looks, he said it, the offense looks the way Jalen Hurts wants it to look, which is one of my all-time favorite quotes from Jalen, because I actually understood it. But I think that, that is true holistically when you look at just the structure of the offense. But I think that can also be true on a game-to-game basis, like on a drive-to-drive basis. If he has either, more say coming to the sideline, talking to Patullo, saying, hey, this is what I see, this is what we should do. Or if it is as far as like audibling out of plays and getting them right.
Yeah, he was asked about, I guess there was a sequence where he and Jalen it looked like they were having a heated discussion. I didn't see that, but he said he didn't even remember what they were talking about, but it was nothing. He said they just, they're both intense on the sidelines, and they were having a conversation about, I think he thought it was about a play that just happened. So I don't know. I didn't see it, so I can't really comment intelligently on it. And I'm sure you'll make the case that it hasn't stopped me before. And I appreciate that. Did you see the
It's almost like I don't even need to be here anymore.
I've been thinking that for a while. Did you see that sequence? And
I did. Yeah, it was. And Jalen in general in this game was more animated.
Yeah.
Whether it was talking to coaches, or there's even like they showed him just like talking to Jalen Carter. And I don't even think they were talking like super in depth. I think it was more like, hey, you got this. Let's come back.
He
and
talked to a few guys on defense in that same little time.
Yeah. And after the game, Hurts even mentioned that sometimes it calls for getting out of character a little bit, which I found interesting because he recognized it in himself. But I like that. I like seeing that fire from him because he's been criticized so much for being deadpan, for being, that cold-blooded guy. But if he starts to get fired up, I think people take notice.
Yeah, and I think we've all seen enough examples of that where he has it in his back pocket when he needs it. I mean,
not typically on the side. Like when you see it, it's like a big play, he's fired up.
Yeah.
Or, after a touchdown, that's who I am or whatever, but like to see it on the sideline when he's normally just like going through the pictures on the tablet, I like that. And I don't think it has to be an every game type of thing, but you're down 19 points. Maybe you got to change up what you're doing. And he did. And I give him credit for that.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what I'm saying. It's like I think he innately knows when it's time to do that, when it's time not to, when it's time to do it pre-game, post-game, practice. He's got a really good feel for that kind of stuff.
I'm trying to think about what else from Kevin Patullo today really stood out. He was asked about the run game a little bit, because that's kind of what's being lost in all this, where, last year, sure, the passing game struggled at times, but the run game was so good it didn't matter. And it became, I think it's why none of the receivers really spoke out too much, because you're running the ball. You got a 2,000-yard run. The run game hasn't been very effective this year.
It's been terrible. And not quite sure why. He's gone from, and I don't think it's Saquon. He's the same guy.
That 4-yard run he made, I went when I rewatched. That was a heck of a play. Yeah. Holy cow!
Yeah, Kevin Patullo,
that should have been a tackle for loss. And it's a first down, and that was a big first down.
Kevin Patullo was asked about him. Gave a very brief answer about we've got to find a way to create holes for him, and then he was asked again, and said that the touchdown in the Chiefs game would have been good from 50, but the defense would have been different. Everything's different, So that's kind of, I'm not sure that adds up. I think he's fine. I don't think they've run blocked particularly well. I think defenses are. It seems like defenses are playing less stacked boxes, because it's like a lot of the big runs. I would say maybe all of them last year. What do you have, 950s? Mm-hmm. Were against a stacked box. When you break the first line of defense against a stacked box, there's no one left. But now if he does get through, there's guys there because they're not loading the box. I haven't seen the numbers on that, but that's my guess. I just haven't seen anywhere for him to run, other than a couple plays here and there.
I'm looking at the.
3.3. Are you kidding me? The guy's. Just doesn't. You watch those lines backs last night. That's where Saquon was last year.
Okay, through 3 games, 29.3% stacked box. Last year, I can't find it now. Okay. Okay, so 29.3. Yeah, last year was just 20.6. But I think that there was an uptick.
For the year or after 3 games?
For the year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
There goes that theory.
Yeah, I think they are stacking the box against him. But, last year they were able to eventually set up the pass with the run. You can do the inverse. You're always going to try to run the ball with this offensive line with Barkley. But if you're able to pass like you did in the second half, it's going to open up things for Barkley. And that's,
you would think,
in theory, this is all in theory. It's always in theory until it works. But that's the beauty of having the star power on this team that you have, is that you're always constantly forcing a defense to pick their poison. And theoretically, when they do, you kill them with the other thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be very interesting to see what happens with the running game, because they've been able to win without it, and credit to them for that. But at some point, they're going to need it.
We talked about Patullo, and we had a good question about this a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago. I forget how long ago it was, about play callers and if they can get better. And I think obviously they can get better. But you brought up the point that it's almost like an innate thing in a guy, if he has a knack for it or if he doesn't have a knack for it. Have we seen enough from Patullo to know one way or the other?
I'm getting concerned. And I don't want to, it's only 3 games, and you don't want to draw a conclusion too quickly, but I haven't seen any sign that. His play calling reminds me of Nick's, those first 6 or 7 games in 21, whatever it was. There's not a lot of creativity. There's not a lot of variety. There's not a lot of inventiveness. It seems like defenses know what they're going to do.
Yeah. And look, from one perspective, we're just talking about the sequencing of plays. Mm-hmm. So there's only so much room to be great in that, because you're limited by play design, by the structure of the offense, by what the quarterback likes, by what the head coach might like. So there's a lot of parameters involved. But when the play calls are working, like there's a beauty in that, and we haven't quite seen that flare yet from Patullo, unless you consider what we saw in the second half all Patullo.
I'm not ready to really, because I think they did that because they had to do it. So I'm not ready to give Patullo any credit for it, just because.
Zero credit.
I mean, I don't say zero, but I get
your point.
I want to see them run the offense like we saw in the second half without, like, it's like I asked them, without being down double digits. Can they do that? Are they going to try to do it? Because you have to be able to play football like that to win. Or get 6 yards of carry, and they're getting about half of that. So it's really amazing they're 3-0, Dave.
They don't lose. We're all the stuff we talk about. They just don't lose football games. So
it's so hard to do what they're doing. It's like I watch the Packers, and I think this team, they're just not going to lose. They're unbeatable, and they go lose to the Browns. The Eagles. And the crazy thing is, two of the longest winning streaks in Eagles history, the 10 games last year, the 9 games this year, and they were separated by one loss to Washington when they were up by 17 or whatever it is, and they just kind of they just didn't play well after that. But they could have a 20-game winning streak right now if it hadn't been for that Washington game. They would have a 20-game winning streak.
It's pretty crazy. And that was the game where Jalen got hurt. So, like the Jalen win streak right now, pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. I want to talk special teams when we come back, because it was a busy day for Michael Clay down at the NovaCare.
There's a little poetry there. You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we've got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store and NissanUSA.com today.
We are back on the Eagle Eye Podcast, brought to you by Nissan, Ruben Frank and Dave Zangaro. You're right, Rube. There was some poetry. It was a busy day for Michael Clay. What do you say?
It's like a Dr. Seuss thing happening here. You're channeling Dr. Seuss. Yeah.
There was a lot to talk to Michael Clay about.
There's a in the closet.
The first item, and it was just a brief answer, but we should mention it, the Eagles claim Xavier Gipson from the Giants. He was actually, you remember him from the Jets, but briefly with the Giants this year. Experienced return guy. You would think that he'll come in right away and at least return kicks, probably return punts.
Yeah, and if he can just catch them, be an upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the big topics with Clay. We can start there, I guess. The kickoffs, the returns, pretty ugly. They could not handle that Cardi knuckleball. It was every single kickoff they were muffing, and they getting behind, and then all of a sudden you're starting the drive at the 10-yard line, the 15-yard line, and it led to a lot of the offensive stuck in the mudness we talked about.
Stuck in the mudness, yeah. And somebody suggested, one of our colleagues suggested, they should have brought in R.A. Dickey to kick off or to throw knuckleballs out there, but. Yeah, I mean, he's got a special ability to do it, and he's good at it, and these guys couldn't handle it.
Well, that's the thing. It's, the Eagles have now put on tape that they can't handle it. So the obvious reaction is, well, other teams are going to do this to them. I don't think other teams can do this. I think that, teams are going to try, but it seems like Hardy has figured something out that other kickers have not. It's like a unique weapon for him right now. So that's the good news. You might not have to worry about it unless you see the Rams again, which you might. But I think teams are going to try. They're going to try to get the ball bouncing weird, because the Eagles right now have proven that they can't handle it.
It's a copycat league, they say. So, yeah, I don't think there's any question. You see a weakness in your opponent, you're going to try to take advantage of it. So we'll see how he does.
Clay said that, he wants them to handle it like a shortstop a little bit, just get square, get in front of it. I asked him if they would actually watch infielders, and he didn't say whether or not they would, but it's not a bad idea, just in terms of getting your body square. So if it bounces weird, at least it hits you and it goes forward, because I think one of the issues in this game was they weren't getting square enough it would hit them on an angle and go behind them. And all of a sudden, then you're in a mad scramble to get the football and just retain possession.
Yeah, they'll be bringing Burt Campanarris in for work.
It's like when, you ever hear that they bring in so-and-so to teach a quarterback how to slide. Why not bring an infielder in and teach him how to get square?
Never helped Michael Vick.
Man, Vic just couldn't slide. Yeah.
Couldn't
Who did
slide.
they bring in?
Chase Utley?
Was it Chase or Jimmy?
I think it was Chase.
Was it Chase?
Yeah. Didn't help.
He just couldn't slide.
Couldn't slide. But yeah, and he did seem to run a lot, so it was a problem. But yeah, we'll see. Had high hopes for Tank Bigsby. We'll see what happens with him. Mechie was the other guy out there, but it's such a big play now, and you have a real opportunity to get some big yards.
Yeah, and it's not even about the opportunity to get big yards. It's now you just can't be behind the eight ball. You can't set your offense up in a worse field position than every other team in the league, which is what happened in week 3.
Well, it's both, yeah. And they go hand in hand.
I'm not even worried about getting past the third. You just got to get to a normal starting spot.
But with this offense and the issues that they've had, if they ended up with 3 long drives at the end of the game, but man, if it wasn't for some of those throws that Jalen made, you're not going 87, 79, and was it 80, 91 yards, whatever the other one was.
Gibson, you probably remember him from the Jets, made it as an undrafted rookie. I think that was the year. I think he was a big Hard Knocks guy.
Oh, yeah.
That summer. Joe Douglas brought him to the Jets, so maybe a little Joe Douglas influence. Now back with the Eagles, they bring Gibson. They claim him off waivers. He has returned a ton of punts, a ton of kickoffs, had a big fumble in that week 1 game with the Jets, and then they cut him shortly after that.
Yeah. Next guy in. We'll see.
He has returned more punts since 2023 than any other player in the league.
Really?
Mm-hmm. 68 punt returns.
Oh, it's a good stat.
Average hasn't been great, 8.9 yards, but
it's all right.
Has fielded a lot, ton of experience. And then kick returner since last year, which is where we really have to do it with the new rules, 28.7 yards per return, ranks 4th among the 13 players with 20-plus returns. So he's been good at it.
That's not a lot of players with that many returns.
No.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would assume if all goes well this week, we might see him out there Sunday.
Yeah, maybe Will Shipley comes back, and all of a sudden, the 2 guys who are returning kicks, and it was such a big issue, aren't even the kick returners anymore. I think that is very possible.
It is.
We also talked to Michael Clay about field goal blocking, and
I think they can use Shipley on offense too. I think he adds some juice. We'll see.
Yeah, they just really don't trust A.J. Dillon, huh?
Apparently not.
Saquon played all but 4 snaps.
Did another running back have a touch Sunday? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
No, it was all Saquon. Tank Bigsby didn't get on the field on offense. So, yeah, I think when Shipley comes back, he'll clearly have a role.
Yeah.
Field goal block. I find this interesting. Just the fact that guys like Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter care so much about it. And it was good. Clay also shouted out Byron Young, Moro Ojima, and Jacorian Bennett, who all played big roles on that field goal block and scoop and score.
Yeah, it was a great conversation with Michael Clay. Really got into the weeds pretty deep about it's really impressive how, and look, Jalen Carter's got some growing up to do. We know that everything that's happened. And gosh, he had another taunting, but he's a real student of the game and really studies the kicking operation. And so, and Jordan Davis does as well, but he really singled out Jalen Carter and his ability to really understand where the weakness is in the protection. These blocks don't just happen. A lot of work and a lot of prep went into them, a lot of studying. I think it's really cool that a guy like him, who could easily just make his living playing defense and he'd have a great career, is so into that play. And you made the point the other day that Georgia, Kirby Smart, and N'Kobe has talked about this, really emphasizes starters playing on special teams, and they really understand the importance of it. When they get to the league, that carries over. And those guys both have a passion for special teams, and they both take it really seriously. And they understand that's part of their job. And it helped them win a game Sunday.
saw an interview with Kirby Smart. He was asked if he'd seen that play, and he said he didn't see it live, but he got the clip sent to him, and he's like, yeah, I mean, Jordan Davis did that a lot around here, so I'm not surprised, which, yeah, all those reps matter.
Yeah.
And when I went back and rewatched that play, Byron Young's push was great.
Yeah.
It really did make a huge difference. He got his guy kind of cleared out, so Jordan was able to get through the line. It's a play like that. Like, Jordan makes the play, and he should get a bunch of the credit, but Morrow and BY get a good push. Jalen Carter slices through the line, and then Jacorian Bennett takes out the holder so that JD can pick it up and start to rumble.
Yeah, he made a great play. I guess the other Byron Young's pretty good, by the way.
Yeah, he's very good.
The Rams Byron Young,
4 sacks now.
Yeah, like 3 tackles for loss in that game.
Yeah, he's very good.
But yeah, it was everything has to go right on a play like that. And first time the Eagles have I researched this back to 1979. There's no way to research it back any farther. Nobody kept track of missed field goals before like the mid 70s. They're non-scoring plays. There's no record of them anywhere. It doesn't exist. And I even went back and using newspapers.com and tried to find like newspaper accounts to see if a team had ever blocked 2 field goals in the fourth quarter. And the beat writers back then, they didn't say what happened in the game. Like they didn't tell you like when the blocked field goals were, which how could you not be thinking like that in 1976? But what I can tell you unequivocally, first time since 1979, a team has blocked 2 field goals in a fourth quarter, which is incredible to me. The Bills blocked 2. One of them was negated by a penalty in 1988. It just doesn't happen. It was also only the second walk-off blocked field goal. Now, it wasn't a walk-off because they had the game won, but last play of the game, blocked field goal touchdown since 96, the second ever. And you can look that up because the touchdown finder goes all the way back to the beginning of time. That's too much minutia, but it's so rare for this to happen. And I give Michael Clay a ton of credit. We don't really talk about him too much. He's become a very good coach and has these guys prepared for everything, for every eventuality, and it paid off Sunday. And he gave credit to Joe Panunzio and, one of the advanced scouts.
Pro scout, Terrence Braxton.
For bringing back, hey, they might have a weakness here in field goal protection. Just those little nuggets, they all add up.
Yeah, I love stuff like that because there's a play that happens on the field, but there's so much that goes into it that kind of unheralded work. But it's a chance for them to let it be known who did a good job there, and it was a play that saved them. Yeah,
no doubt. It'll be a fun what do you call it? Oral history on that play, like everything that went into it, going all the way back. Terrence Braxton, native of Dover, Delaware, went to Wesley College, joined the Eagles as a member of the Diversity Series Football Operations Internship in 2021. So he's been with the team since then. I love those. Like, I didn't know about him. He's a scout. We talk to those guys very infrequently. But I love just those little angles that go into winning a football game.
That's all I had for Michael Clay.
Very cool.
We talked to Vic Fangio a little bit about his defense. Want to just ping pong this back and forth? Something that stood out to you?
Well, he said Keely Ringo is going to play. He said at some point, for some reason, he's going to play. He said he's really looked good since camp ended. Obviously, he had a disappointing camp, disappointing preseason. He said he's handled it well. He was disappointed he didn't get the starting job, but
who knows? It could be this week.
It could be this week.
A little banged up already.
Yeah. He speaks of Keely much higher than he speaks of Jacorian Bennett. I think Keely, if somebody gets banged up, Bennett's going in. He called Keely one of the best special teams players in the NFL. I think he's going to be this team's starting cornerback very soon.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that is just like the equity you build up being with Vic for a year and a half.
Yeah. versus a guy who's been here since August.
Yeah. It's still interesting to me that Bennett's the guy that's going in, like when Adoree gets banged up, which I think has happened in every game. I think he's gotten some snaps in every game.
I think like 5, 7, and 12 snaps for Bennett.
How about Vic? He's like, yeah, I don't know how many snaps. And he's just like, looks at me like, you would know how many snaps. I couldn't remember if it was 11 or 12. I said 11 or 12, and you said 12. So I appreciate that.
I don't know if you did.
I don't know why I'm like Vic's official snap counter. I guess because he knows I know a lot of unimportant minutia. But
how do I take over that role? Because snap counts are very important.
Yeah, that's your thing.
Yeah.
Well, I've discovered the PFF snap count like in game or
yeah.
It's very helpful.
Unofficial, but yes.
Yeah, unofficial. But yeah, it was. Look, we were both pretty high in Keeley when camp started. We both thought he would be the guy. Didn't work out that way. He's still a young guy. I'm really impressed with the way he's handled it.
You talked about Quinyon Mitchell a little bit. Had to shadow Devontae Adams in that game. Thought he did pretty well. There were a couple where, the pass wasn't there. And if it was, maybe we were looking at it differently. But I thought he played well. And it's not – Vic made the point that it's not as easy as it sounds to just travel with another player. And he's right. Like there's a lot that goes into it, identifying it. Sometimes that guy will go in the slot and you don't travel with him. So now you got to stay to your side. The other corner has to flip flop back and forth. And so far the Eagles have handled that pretty well.
And he made the point that just physically you might have to run, if there's a go route, you might be 50 yards down the field and then the guy's lining up on the other side. You got to make up a lot of ground really quick, get the call. Of course, the receiver's got to do that as well. But yeah, a lot goes into it. I thought that was a really interesting little nugget.
Mm-hmm. Anything else from Vic you wanted to highlight?
No, I think that was mainly it. I mean, he talked about Jordan and just say he's playing well, which is understatement of the year. I think he really likes Jordan and where he's at.
How could you not?
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
Early thoughts on the Bucs. Obviously, a team that has given the Eagles some trouble. They are really banged up, though, right now.
Yeah, they are. It's been a house of horrors down there. And, we were talking to Zach Baun after the Phillies-Mets series in New York. And he's like, is there any other – can you think of any other instance where, the worst team – and then the Bucs have been very good during this stretch,
mm-hmm.
but, the one team just owns the team in their building. It's like, Mets Phillies came up. But, I mean, it's going to be hot. I think there's – conditioning stuff is, I think this team's in pretty good shape. I think I think it's one of the reasons they've been good at the end of games. All 3 games is they're pretty fit. You see Jordan Davis sprinting down at 18 miles an hour at 59 minutes and 55 seconds into a football game. He's in shape. So I don't understand going down a day early. You're not going to get acclimated to the heat by being in the heat for an extra day.
Yeah. Nice tidbit though from our John Clark, finding out the Eagles are going down on Friday instead of Saturday. Maybe it's just the more mindset thing than anything. You think you'll get a little mental boost from it?
It doesn't help. And if anything, it hurts. I think the best way to do it is to minimize your time in the heat and hydrate as much as you can, and then just go play football for 3 hours. And pickle juice is a fraud. I remember I was at the pickle juice game, opening day 2000 down in Dallas, and which to me was a pivotal point in this franchise's history, but that's a story for another day. And everyone knows about the pickle juice. Maybe you don't know, it was 25 years ago, but trainer Rick Burkholder told all the players, if you drink pickle juice before the game, it'll keep you hydrated. They all did it. And then I was doing the book on the 50 greatest plays in Eagles history, and the opening onside kick was one of them in that game, surprise onside kick, which couldn't happen now. And Rick Burkholder told me, there's nothing to that. If you believe it's helping you, it's helping you.
A little placebo, but I think it can naturally help you. It's liquid. There's sodium. It's the same idea as a sports drink.
It doesn't help you any more than water, is what he said.
There's sodium in
it. He explained that just the way the sodium dissolves, it's not going to help you in the next 3 hours. But anyway, I don't want to get too deep into that. But we'll see. Just being fit is going to be a big part. Just holding up in the heat is going to be a big part of competing in this game. And
there's not a ton of guys left from, some of those nightmares down there, certainly 21. So, and look, they're good. I mean, they're really good. I think their quarterback is playing a really high level. Vic questions some GMs. I don't know why so many GMs let this guy go. It's like, yeah, GMs make mistakes. And he goes, yeah, just like we all do. I enjoy my time with Vic every Tuesday morning.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
He's pretty honest.
He is.
Yeah, they are, they've lost some games down there. And, but yeah, looking at the injury report for the Bucs, Mike Evans is going to be out this game. We'll see if they're without God.
He's definitely out.
Yeah, he's out for a few weeks with that hamstring. So we'll see if Evans, obviously Evans isn't going to play. Maybe no Godwin. We'll see about Tristan Wirfs in this game. Those two guys haven't played yet this year, Godwin and Wirfs, and they didn't put him on IR, so you'd assume that they were thinking they'd have him back for this one, but that's an inexact science, right? You never really know. So, and even if they're back, are they going to be at their best? Maybe not. Cansey is out for the year. They've lost a couple of offensive linemen already. Gottake's done. Cody Mauch is hurt. So, they could be without 3 of their presumed 5 starting offensive linemen, and they're winning. They're 3-0. They're playing tough, but they're a banged up team right now.
Yeah, I think Todd Bowles is a really good coach. He was here briefly in 2012, became the defensive coordinator after Juan Castillo was removed from the position. And Temple guy, North Jersey guy, Elizabeth High School maybe. But I've always liked Todd and the product he puts out there. He'll blitz.
Yeah, he will blitz. We'll get into matchups later in the week as we get ready for that game. A bit of news in the NFC East. Jackson Dart, now the quarterback for the New York Giants. We knew it was a matter of time, and I think it's probably the right time to do it. When Brian Daboll earlier this week left open that door, whenever there's a crack in that door, it's going to get pushed open. And now it's Jackson Dart.
Kind of like the Keeley thing. Like it's going to happen. Once you say, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if, you're making the decision. A
little different at quarterback, but yeah, I get your point.
It's a little different, but it's been painful to watch Russell play. And look, he doesn't have much around him. Neighbors is good, but they don't protect him. Can't run the ball. They're just a bad team. He's an older quarterback who's kind of, hopefully he retires because I don't think he's helping his legacy. He bounced around the last few years. We'll see. I think I like the matchup between Vic Fangio and a rookie quarterback. What was he, a 25th pick?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you have 2 of the next 5 games against the Giants. So we'll have 2 games before the Eagles. I think, ideally, Russell would have held on a little bit longer and you get the first game of a rookie quarterback. But maybe that's not a good thing. Maybe you do want some more tape on him to study. What do you think Vic would say about that? Getting a couple games on tape versus getting a rookie in his first game?
He'd say, yeah, it doesn't matter. Just play whoever they put out there.
That's true. That is what he would say. Do you think there's any benefit one way or the other?
I'd rather play the guy before he's played.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you can look. Vic can figure out pretty quickly what you have college tape. He transferred. Where he started at USC, maybe. He finished at Mississippi State. I don't know. I should know this stuff. Where did Jackson Dart go to college? You probably have it right in front of you.
I don't know where he started. USC, yeah.
It was USC.
Before Ole Miss, yeah.
Ole Miss, not Mississippi State. Yeah. I had the right state. I had the right province. Mississippi a province? Yeah, he's a big kid. And who do they play this week? Do we know? I know. I'm asking ridiculous
No,
questions.
They don't know. So they haven't put out their schedule yet.
Chargers. Chargers are terrific. It's in East Rutherford. And they play the Saints, who are not terrific.
That Broncos Eagles is not going to be easy for them.
Yeah. And the 49ers after that, they just keep winning too without their quarterback. A lot of backup quarterbacks playing. That kid Wentz played in Minnesota.
Played pretty well.
He did play well. Yeah. Jackson Dart. What else? What else, Dave? Say something. Speak to me.
You say that, but you keep talking. And that's not how this works.
I wasn't talking.
You want to get the questions?
Yeah.
We have a lot of them, so it should be fun. eagle@nbcuni.com is the email address. We'll get to the ones we got during the game. They were a lot of fun to read. First one from Matthew. All right. Emailed you guys pissed at halftime during the Saints game last year. I'm trying to rub the genie bottle again. That was the worst offensive effort in a half I've seen from this team, maybe in my life. Why is the offense so stale? Why are their routes within 5 yards of depth of each other, drawing 3+ defenders to the spot? Why does it seem like the only throws downfield go to Dotson when we have AJ and Smitty? The halfback draw is dead. Saquon magic is far in the rear view. Teams can just stack the box. How do we fix this? Does it require a coaching change? Matthew emailed us back and took a little bit of credit for turning that thing around.
Yeah, no, they're all fair questions. They're all valid questions. They're all questions I think we were asking in that first half. And look, it's great that they came back and won the game, but you can't play like that and expect to win many games. And yeah, it was just predictable. It was conservative. It was stale. You know, didn't Nick use the word stale when they fired Brian Johnson?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looked like. It just looked stale. And to have those kind of weapons that they have and see that, and I'm not really buying the backed up thing. Look, it's not ideal being backed up. You can still run you watched the Lions last night. They had 2 drives that started in their own 5. They just drove down and scored on both of them. Even the Eagles at the end of the game.
On one hand, backed up means you have more space in front of you.
Yeah. Once they got things going, once Jalen was calling the plays, they started to drive on the 9, right? The game-winning, the go-ahead drive started on their own 9, I believe. So I'm not buying that. It'll be interesting to see what version of this offense we see on Sunday, not when they fall behind, but at the beginning of the game.
From Harrison. If Kevin Patullo was the best choice, we would have picked him 4 years ago. This dude has to go. The play calling is so bad, it doesn't make any sense. I'm so done with this game after 4 drives. I can't watch anymore. Harrison, I got to tell you, if you stopped watching, the Eagles won.
He probably doesn't know that.
The Eagles won that game.
We're probably the first ones to tell him that the Eagles came back and won. Harrison, you missed a great ending.
Alex. Hi, Dave and Ruben. Thanks for all you do with podcasts and entertaining us fans, especially in times like this. From section 108 at the game today, the offense is absolutely terrible. It seems like no matter how bad...
He's emailing us from the stadium?
Yeah.
I like it.
No matter how bad the Rams are on offense, they gain some yards. How do we trust this
second half they did.
Current offensive coordinator? I feel like good talent is going to waste. The team looks deflated. Thanks for all your hard work to keep us fans happy most of the time.
Yeah, it was bad.
I have one more from during the game from Cole. Start McKee. That's the email.
Okay.
That's where we were in the first half of that game.
Yeah, I don't think Jalen had anything to do with the issues. Well, I don't think he had very much to do with it. Got to have an opportunity.
From Austin. Hey, Dave and Rube, what a game on Sunday against the Rams. As a relatively younger Eagles fan, 28, I got to say that yesterday's win will definitely be one of those games I'll never forget. I went back and watched the highlights from the Miracle to Meadowlands 2, and this game had almost the exact same feel to it in the sense that the first half seemed so helpless, and then suddenly out of nowhere, we were back in the game again. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the epic ending today. With that in mind, I had a thought.
Oh.
Considering the Miracle at a Meadowlands has its own special name, technically there's 2 of them, I know.
There's 3.
There's 3,
yeah.
Depending on what, yeah.
There's 3.
There's 3. Should this one get a name too? Since it's the first regular season Miracle they've had at the Link, what about a name like Leap at the Link in honor of Davis's jump to block the kick, or Broad Street Block? Curious to hear your thoughts.
I don't love those names.
You didn't really get that high off the ground for Leap.
Yeah.
The block on Broad isn't bad.
Breakfast on Broad. So Bob, we have mugs that say Bob on them.
Just cross it out.
We got a whole cabinet of Bob mugs. The Block Bowl doesn't have a good ring to it. I don't know. Let's ask people out there.
Oh no, don't do this to me again. This is like the Vic defense all over again.
It's like the moving goalposts.
Okay, I will say that if you email us, this has a 2-day shelf life.
Just
we're not going to be naming this game in week 5.
No.
Okay.
But it should. And the Clyde Simmons return of a blocked Eagles field goal to me is miracle 2 in 88.
Okay.
I mean, the Giants blocked an Eagles field goal, but because the ball was behind the line of scrimmage, Clyde was able to scoop it up and return it for a touchdown. So the Eagles lined up for a field goal, had it blocked, and scored a touchdown on the same play and won the game. The Giants got to be wondering, like, what is this team going to do to us this time?
From Michael. Hey, Dave and Rube, I'll keep my question simple. Given the ascension of Jordan Davis's play this year, what does his next contract look like?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Can the Eagles afford both Carter and Davis? Yeah, all of a sudden, like it's something they have to worry about. Not right now, but you have Jordan Davis under that 5th-year option. But yeah, it's a new lump contract that they probably weren't anticipating.
Yeah, we didn't even. I mean, we weren't sure they were going to exercise the option.
It wasn't like a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
Like I think it was the right move to exercise it,
right.
Given what contracts are for defensive tackles, and given that position sometimes does take a while, even though Vic didn't necessarily agree with that. That it kind of shows out.
It was a fair question.
Yeah, it definitely kind of seems like the case. So, it's I don't know what that. It's not going to be cheap if he keeps playing like this.
Yeah, you have to hope. If you're Howie, you have to hope he doesn't. And I mean, there's guys on defense. I mean, at some point they're gonna have to do Nolan. I mean,
Nolan will be eligible after this season. Yeah, I
have to figure out Nakobe, which is going to be tricky.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and so much work goes into like the nice thing about the Jalen Carter one is from the moment they drafted him 9th overall, I think they were already starting to plan out how they were going to afford him long term. The Zach Bond one came out of nowhere, and now this Jordan Davis one, maybe not out of nowhere, but
certainly wasn't 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
it wasn't. He wasn't seen as a huge contract guy. Now maybe it's getting to that point.
But it's got to be a priority, not just to keep Jordan Davis, but the idea of keeping Davis and Carter together.
Yeah.
That's what's special.
Yeah. It's an interesting challenge. I think Howie would be able to do it, but they might have to sacrifice a couple of the other guys.
Yeah, you have to. You have to sacrifice some places to get contracts for other guys, and it's why it's imperative he keeps drafting well.
Yep.
Next one from Nate. I don't think you can get through the next pod without talking about Isaiah Rodgers and his 3 forced turnovers in the first half for the Vikings, knowing that the Eagles let him walk for $8 million a year and our CB play has been subpar. Was it worth it? CB2 play has been subpar.
Wasn't even. It was less than that. Wasn't it 2 years, $11 million?
Yeah, something like that.
I think it was less than $8 million a year. I think we both advocated for them to keep him. Howie had this philosophy that he wasn't going to give, and that's not a big contract, but he wasn't going to give any of those type of guys contracts, period, maybe even offers. I like the player. I thought he was pretty good last year. He's fast as hell. And you figure in his second year, after sitting out a year, he's going to be better as well. It was a great signing by them. They could sure use him, obviously.
My buddy has a theory that the Eagles are going to wait this out. The Steelers are going to stink, and they're going to trade to bring Slay in. He's holding out hope that the Steelers just really, really stink so that they start unloading.
Howie does like to bring guys back.
From Scott. Okay, guys, I'm happy about being 3-0. What do you think the deal is with Barkley and the run game? It seems like these inside zones are constantly getting stuff. Is it Barkley? The line? Thoughts?
That's a great question. I think he's the same guy. I think we've seen enough from him to understand that. I don't see anywhere for him to run. I don't think there's been a lot of creativity in the run plays they're calling. Like to see something different. it just seems like defenses know what's coming, and it's tough to get big yards when that's the case. I don't think they're blocking particularly well for him. So, yeah.
I'm not too worried about it.
I'm not worried about it, but it wasn't on my bingo card that he'd be averaging 3-3 after 3 games.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they'll be okay running the football.
I don't think he's going to get those 1,600 yards I got him for in our little wager.
From Zebby.
Hey,
guys. I'm still coming down from the high of our win over the Rams on Sunday. What a game. I think I have a great nickname for the Eagles versus Rams game. It could be the Air Jordan game, or just nicknaming Jordan Davis Air Jordan. It highlights Jordan Davis jumping to block the field goal on the last play of the game and is a nod to Michael Jordan's jump to create Air Jordan. I'd love to see if you can make this name catch on.
He didn't jump that high, and you can't really – I don't think you can do that. You can't go Michael Jordan, Jordan Davis. And also, it doesn't sound like a game. Like, you need something in there to indicate it was a game. Like, miracle is, the miracle, the something bowl, the fog bowl, something showdown. You need some kind of like noun in there.
Okay, so here's the deal. You have a good name for that game. Email it to us.
Yeah, 48 hours.
Email it to us before our Thursday pod. We'll go through, we'll vote on one, and then we'll move on. Fair?
Yeah.
Let's finish up with a couple more.
There's one that better be coming, because I spent 3 hours on this.
Yeah, it's coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking, because you seem to be winding down here.
We are winding down. I was going to save that one for last.
Okay.
From Jason. Hey, guys, been a long-time listener. I wanted to say that my favorite part of the NBC Sports postgame show has been seeing Dave striding purposefully through the frame and the tunnel camera shot to get to his postgame.
We got a real close-up of you this
Did
week.
you?
Yeah.
I was unaware of that. Now that I am, I will try to avoid that.
We got a closer close-up of Ashland, just right by the camera.
Okay.
Yeah. So be aware.
Okay. Yeah. So now Ashland and I have been doing a hit before we go in the locker room. So I am moving with a purpose. I have to be there on time for that hit.
And I really like that. It's a great way to get immediate perspective on the game from you guys who were there.
I love this one from Jim. We had a bunch of people send us their best field goal rule changes to make the play a little tougher. This is my favorite one so far.
More than the mascots or the triangle?
This is the mascots one.
The moving. Oh, okay. Oh, we didn't read that already?
No.
I just ruined it, didn't I?
Yep.
All right. Sorry, Dave.
The opposing team can release their mascot to attempt to block the kick. Ram, Colt, Giant, Commander, Seagull, Bengal, Lion, Bear, etc. This is great.
It is great.
You get 12 players on defense. One of them has to be the team's normal mascot. So if it's
not the mascot, but the actual.
No. I like the mascot.
Oh, so it's I thought it was the actual Jaguar or.
I don't know. I think that'd be tougher. I think either one's pretty tough to clear through insurance, but I think throwing a lion on the field is probably not going to go well.
Who would be best? Which team name would be a commander? It could be pretty effective.
We're going Mike Leach here. Does he have a gun? Does he have a sword? Buccaneer? Is he out there just as a guy?
Mike Leach.
Are the Cowboys on a horse? You ever see that clip where Mike Leach is talking about which mascot would come out of the?
Mike Leach is brilliant, and to know that he and Marty Morningwig were like pals, I would have loved to just have a beer with those two guys. Just listen to them talk about.
I don't think I'd understand any of it.
Probably not, but it'd be fun.
Yeah. So I like that idea. I think it'd be really funny, like Swoop running on the field, getting in the defensive huddle.
Wouldn't mind.
That'd be great. All right, last one from Chris. Big fan of the pod. It's one of the few must listens I have every week. Question for Rube.
Yes.
After the Eagles' first touchdown, the Rams scored 26 unanswered points.
Oh.
Then the Eagles came back and scored 26 unanswered points, which is the real reason Jordan Davis scored rather than taking the knee. How often have both teams scored 26 unanswered points in the same game?
Well, do you know what I did during the entire first half of that Ravens-Lions game last night? I looked this up. And so what I did, and only because it's a podcast listener, it took me about 3 hours. What I did was I went to StatHead and I found every Eagles game where both teams scored at least 26 points. That's easy. There's 153 of them. And I went one by one through each one, and just looked at the first thing that comes up on StatHead, or on StatHead, is the game, the box, and it'll just have the scoring in order. So you can kind of look at it real quickly and just see if team scored. You have to score 4 straight times. Then the other, at a minimum, if there's field goals involved, it could be more, but it has to be at least 4. So you'd see if they did it 4 times, going to the next one, going to the next one. It has happened. It happened 77 years ago, Dave. The Eagles were playing the Rams, of all opponents, and the Eagles went up 28-0. Tommy Thompson threw a couple touchdowns to Hall of Famer Pete Pihos. Bosh Pritchard had a touchdown run. 28-0. Then the Rams scored the next 28 points. So it wasn't 26, but it was more than 26. And the game ended in a 28-28 tie. Bob Waterfield went crazy for the Rams, threw 3 touchdown passes in the second half, including one to Jack Zilli with 32 seconds left to tie the game at 28. That's the only other time in Eagles history both teams have scored at least 26 consecutive points in the same game.
Now, was it a good use of your time? How do you feel about it?
I feel pretty good.
Okay.
1948.
Were you excited to see it was the Rams? Because that's kind of fun.
I didn't even realize that till like an hour after I looked it up. I was like, oh, they just played the Rams. They won the NFL championship that year, their first one. So maybe that's omen.
All right. Want to wrap this up?
Let's do it.
Okay. No final thoughts? You're good?
I'm good, Dave.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity, though.
If you enjoyed the Eagle Eye Podcast, please rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, click that like button, subscribe there as well. We'll be back later in the week getting you ready for Eagles-Bucs. But for now, he's Ruben Frank. I'm Dave Zangaro. This has been Eagle Eye presented by Nissan. We'll talk to you soon.